Micah Frankel for CageMinds.com. We're here with Josh Big Country Lanier. It's Bellator time.
That's it.
Win, and you got back in, and now kind of been set up in a position where a lot of people like me who think we know what we're talking about really counting you out here. Your opponent's name is something very hard I can't say. Have you mastered it yet?
Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce it either. It's Volkan Oezdemir or something like that.
We mean no respect on that, just horrible enunciation. But talk about that a little bit. People are already counting you out. He's coming from overseas. It's his first time in the United States. You know, he's got a lot of hype on him, but it's a lot of pressure, and he's coming to the elevation. What do you think about those factors?
Yeah, you know, a lot of the local or national websites have kind of counted me out, not giving me a really good chance on this fight, which is, you know, whatever. They don't know me. They don't know how I train. This guy's coming in, like I said, first fight in the U.S. Don't know me, don't know how I train. You know, I'm not the opponent he's fought before. Step in the cage, and we're gonna find out how good he really is.
Find out how good he really is. I'm assuming that you've watched a little tape on him, seen some stuff on him. What do you think so far? You've seen he's knocking out people.
I think he's knocking people out, but I think he's fought a bunch of cream puffs. You know, he's fought a bunch of guys that lay down and be scared of him. You know, hit him one time and they buckle. That ain't me. That's not what's gonna happen with me. So.
And then we know you can take a shot. In your first Bellator fight, we saw several big left hands at heavyweight landing on you. You're able to sustain that. So how much do you think the toughness, your toughness compared to what his other opponents had will be?
You know, it's a totally different type of fighter. He's gonna have a guy that'll stand there and smile at him when he hits him. I'm not gonna lay down like the rest of his opponents did. So we'll see what he does when he's got somebody that won't back down.
And then we don't know him. We can only speculate, but it's the first time out of country, a lot of traveling, a new place, all the way across the world, the elevation out here. How much do you think also the crowd being in support of you, all those factors of you're at home in a comfortable scenario helps you and benefits you?
You know, all that stuff I think kind of goes away when you step in the cage, because at the end of the day it's just me and him inside the cage. All our teams, all our family, all our friends, everything is outside, and when it steps in it's just me and him, and it's going to be who wants it the most that night, and I want it pretty bad, so I hope he does too.
Now we know, of course, NAGA heavyweight champion here at Lovato Total Fitness, so Jiu-Jitsu, working on the wrestling hardcore. Tell us what you've changed up for this fight, because we know people tweak things every time a little bit.
We changed the camp a little bit. My head coach, Lanier Lovato, put more into the conditioning aspect of it, a little less into the technique. He wanted me to focus on being able to go 3, 4, 5 rounds, whatever it takes. So that was first on our agenda. Then he brought in Coach Ray Yee from Albuquerque Kickboxing for my stand-up. Wanted me to utilize my long range and stuff to set up my takedowns and work my jiu-jitsu. So we've got a well-rounded camp this time.
Now for you, we know you as a head coach, you like to kind of be in control of your situation and your scenario. How has that changed up this time?
I totally took a step back. Coach Lynn is all in charge. I mean, if he tells me to stand on my head in the middle of the fight, then I'll stand on my head. You know, it's just when you get to a certain point in your career, you get used to doing things a certain way, and that's kind of where I was at. Luckily, you know, if you find the right coach, you'll be able to trust 100%. It took a while, but I finally found the right coach with Coach Lenny. I trust in him 110%, so I don't have to think about it. I don't have to worry about what we're going to do tomorrow. I just show up and he tells me what to do.
So from a small heavyweight, down at middleweight a couple times, now it's 205. What's the diet been like in conjunction with the conditioning?
You know, we've kept it pretty clean. You know, we worked on keeping some size for this fight. Show up at weigh-ins. You tell me what you think. It's going to be a new Josh Lanier. So show up, tell me what you think of this Josh Lanier stepping on the scales. So
what this Josh Lanier is feeling, do you feel like now we're going to answer those questions? This is where you want to be weight class-wise, yeah, 205?
This is it right here, 205. I feel good. You know, I'll have to cut a couple of pounds, probably the day of weigh-ins. So I'll be healthy, I'll be strong, not shrinking all the way down to 185. That mark between 205 and 185, that's a big gap. you know, and so I think 205 is probably the best bet.
We know, like we said, NAGA heavyweight champion, very experienced on the ground, but then even improving your wrestling, what has that added to that ground game?
You know, it's actually changed my ground game a lot. Before, I would be comfortable with going to my back, you know, working, you know, my submissions. But Coach Lenny's brought in 3 or 4 national wrestling champions, and he's like, okay, you can't go to your back. Only way to win is get on top. So we have trained over and over and over. So my wrestling has never been this good before. I feel phenomenal. I used to hate wrestling. You know, I was like, I don't want to wrestle today. But now it's come to a point where I can't wait to get in here and wrestle.
We've got that. We talk about the ground game, and with MMA, it's not a letter of the law exactly that you have to be on top, but more than not, if you make it to a judge's decision, that's what matters. So how much of it was also a mental aspect, because you're used to the just flat out grappling, and you know, going to your back is not a bad thing, to changing that mentality?
It took a little while, you know, to get that mindset out of just going to my back and working jiu-jitsu. But once I realized, you know, being on top and controlling and still being able to use my jiu-jitsu, but just using it as a control and being on top the whole time, I think it's just really elevated my game. I feel, like I said, my grappling, my jiu-jitsu, my wrestling feels at its peak. It's never been this good before.
And then back to the striking again. We know you're a big guy, long, lengthy in the arms and the legs, so fully extending, keeping that reach, keeping that movement, and practicing that now on a more consistent basis. How do you feel that the striking has evolved and what you'll be able to show in that aspect?
Yeah, I think it's evolved quite a bit. It's always been a little trouble area for me, you know. People want me to stay far away to use my range, but I want to get close so I can use my jiu-jitsu. So it's always been kind of confusing in the ring or cage, I guess, for me. So Coach Ray, he has worked a lot with me on using that range and being comfortable. I've done a lot of boxing in the past, and I could never bring that over to the cage. I don't know if I had a mental block or whatever, and Coach Ray's helped me with that. You're going to see a little swag Friday night. Go in there, just have fun, use some range, and just see how it goes.
And then transitions, wanted to ask you about that. Working so much on the wrestling, on the striking, we know the jiu-jitsu is good. And then how do you feel transitioning from one to the other to the other? Where are you at in that right now?
I feel flawless. Like, realistically, being able to transition from my boxing, you know, to kickboxing, to the wrestling, it's just flowing. You know, this is the best camp I've ever had. So there's no excuses, there's nothing. This is the best Josh Lanier we're going to see. So I'm looking forward to putting everything out there.
Best Josh Lanier we're going to see. Like we said, we got people doubting you. One last thing on that. Does it feed to the fire? Does it kind of just roll off your back? Because again, these are just people looking at a few numbers, looking at one fight. Is it just something on whatever they say, or how does it affect you or irk you at all?
Well, I mean, yeah, it gets on my nerves. You know, these guys never done anything before as far as the fight game goes. They want to sit there and at their desk and give me the 4% chance or whatever it is they're giving me, telling me that, you know, this guy's going to run through me and all this. Like, you don't know. Like, you've never stepped foot in the cage. If you've never been in there, I don't want to hear your opinion. If you have never walked inside the cage, I don't want to hear your opinion. You can't tell me nothing. That's like me taking my car to a mechanic that's never, you know, worked on the engine before. It's just dumb. I don't want to hear it. Keep your mouth shut. Come in, get some training, then tell me what kind of percent chance I got. That's how I feel about it.
And then one last thing to hit on. We know you're a big part of the team around here, big part of the coaching. Have you missed doing that with being focused on your goal ahead of you?
Yeah, we had to take a step back. You know, it's always hard when you're doing coaching and fighting. So we got some guys fighting November 2nd in Carlsbad. So that's just a weekend right after me. So it's been hard for me to take a step back and be like, oh, you know, you guys do this, and then I'll just be on my own doing this. It's real hard, you know, but Coach Lynn has been really good about basically running me out of the gym. You know, when I'm here wanting to help these guys, he's like, no, you need to go home and rest. He's like, I got this. So, you know, Coach Lynn he's the foundation around here, so he keeps me in check where I need to be and doesn't let me get too off track, basically.
Thank you for the time, Josh. Can't wait to see what you're going to do this Friday. Weigh-ins tomorrow, everyone. See you at the Santa Ana Star Casino for the weigh-ins, the Star Center for the fight. Doors at 4:30, first fight at 5. Last thing, who do you need to thank, Josh?
Just thank everybody, you know, Bellator Total Fitness, Coach Lenny, Coach Ray, all my team, you know, these guys coming in here, training with me every day. You know, all my sponsors, Biz Media, Mac 10, Orthoris, Dr. Bo Hightower. Man, there's just so many to think of right now. If I left you out, I'm sorry. I got your back, anti-bullying. Just thank you guys for everything. We'll see you soon.
We'll see everybody at Bellator 105.